Is it ever okay to say that you don't want to grow your business? It's often an unasked question because of all of the shaming involved. There is so much indirect and direct shaming of entrepreneurs who aren't working or aren't willing to work nights and weekends, and I'm here to end that. Hustle and being willing to work harder than you did in your past job or harder than someone with a normal, 9 to 5 job are required when you own your own business. We all know that. But sometimes I get so tired of the entrepreneurs I see who are all celebrating the fact that, what are your plans this weekend? I'm working all weekend. Yes, that's the kind of dedication necessary when you're an entrepreneur, especially if you're still working a full-time job and building your own company on the side. Yet, I'm not so sure we should all be so quick to celebrate working too much and working too hard and working too many hours. And we definitely should not be shaming those people who don't. I recall one time when a coach reached out to me, and I'm connected to quite a few business coaches. They cover all different niches of business: accounting, marketing, processes, legal, you name it. This particular coach reached out to me right around the time that I was a new entrepreneur, new this time around, and had left my previous corporate job, started my own company. I wasn't ready to grow yet, and I mentioned that during our conversation. She had a bad response to that, kind of along the lines of, "Oh my God, I can't believe you don't want to grow. What's wrong with you?" That's not exactly the words she used, but that's definitely how it came across. She even made a social media post and a live video talking negatively about people who say that they don't want to grow their business. Now, she didn't mention me by name, but it was all about me. I knew that, she knew that. What she didn't take into consideration, which is one of the reasons that made me not jump into coaching with her, even though she knew the part of my backstory because we discussed it in our conversation. One of the main reasons I had left my corporate job to become an entrepreneur was because of the negative impact that stress from overwork was having on all aspects of my life. My health, my relationships, my house, you name it. Even financially, you assume work more hours, you make more money. Not when you're on salary, but you do end up spending more money because you do things to try to make life easier. So even financially, it had an impact. I had been working 80-hour weeks for 3 years. And that's the type of load that you just can't sustain without having some kind of negative impact in your life. So as an entrepreneur, one of my initial goals was to not even work 40-hour weeks because I knew I needed time to heal my body from the effects stress had had, to work on my relationships, heck, even to just clean my house and do my laundry. I needed to heal myself first before I dove back into doing more work to expand my business. It was actually a really hard process for me to move from 80 hours down to about 25 or 30, and it took me actually a long time to really recover from that, much longer than I thought it would. And I did ramp back up to 40 hours during that time. And there have been plenty of times that I've done 50 and even 60 hours without blinking. But at that initial point, there were other things more important in my life than working more hours, than working the more hours I knew it would take to grow my business. Another thing we had discussed is how I had recently been a block away from a terrorist attack. Those type of big life events can change your perspective and your outlook on life and often result in very different goals in life. And let's face it, business is only one small part of life. I knew I also needed time to process that fully and have a solid understanding of the new direction I wanted my business and my life to go as a result of that reflection. Even knowing those two really big things that had driven me to become an entrepreneur, there was still shaming happening. That type of shaming is the thing that makes all of us embarrassed to say, no, I'm at a stage that I don't want to grow my business right now. All I want to do is maintain. It's like that isn't an acceptable response. It doesn't have to be an acceptable response to me for you to feel that way. It just has to be acceptable to you. We don't know your circumstances, just like you didn't know mine probably until I told you that little story a minute ago. Choosing not to grow can be a great conscious decision, just like a conscious decision to grow your business. And it should be a conscious decision. A decision like this can actually be coming from a place of abundance mindset, and can be one of the greatest gifts, including financial gifts, that you can give yourself and your family, just like a conscious decision to actively grow your business. Now, we have to be careful. It can't simply be an excuse that you're making out of fear or other unconscious reasons. Sometimes all of us fall into the trap of using something as an excuse because we're afraid. Maybe we're afraid to grow, we're afraid to succeed, or we're afraid to fail. You have to ask yourself, am I using the excuse of having worked too many hours because I'm afraid? Or is that the actual valid reason? In my case, I took a long look at that one and I knew that it was a conscious decision. And those types of big, hard reflections can be difficult to make alone, which is why it's also a great time to have a coach on your side. But that coach needs to understand that success looks different for each person. For me, it may not be about making $10 million this year. Next year it might be. Last year it definitely wasn't. It can change for each of us. Success isn't only about money, and it shouldn't be. We all work every day. If you're doing any kind of work, you're doing it to make money. Nothing wrong with that. But how I define success and how you define success may not include working 80-hour weeks. It may not include working 60-hour weeks. Heck, I'm all for, can I work 20-hour weeks, focus it so intently that I get the same result if I had worked 60 hours. I'm all for being efficient and focused with my time and my strategies. This is the type of decision you can't fake. It has to be authentic to you and to your carefully and consciously chosen life goals. So a lot of my marketing advice comes from working both with entrepreneurs and small businesses, people maybe at 5 and 6 figures a year, some of them definitely moving into having a 7-figure business. I've also worked for multi-million and multi-billion-dollar companies doing their marketing. And I know for a fact that the strategies you use as that 5 or 6 figure entrepreneur are not the same strategies you need to take you to that multi-million or multi-billion-dollar level. The marketing you've done to get where you are is not the marketing you need to take you to the next level. I know there's some consultants and coaches out there giving advice that have never worked at one of those higher levels. And that's why they can't really give you the real advice you need to get to that level. Not growing right now can be a conscious decision based upon the choices you've made for your life. Everything in business and in life has an opportunity cost. That is, you choose one thing, you're giving up something else. That opportunity cost may be something as simple as, if I work more hours this week, I have less hours to spend with my family, and maybe I'm not willing to do that. I also know that not working more hours, maybe I'm not going to make as much money as I could have this week. Having done marketing for those companies that have grown to the multi-million and multi-billion-dollar stage, I know there are simple and effective strategies that can and that must be put in place to make your marketing more efficient. Things like our 3x3 marketing matrix. Processes and systems you put in place for operational purposes. Things that will let you spend less time and less money on marketing while still achieving the same business growth results. So for those entrepreneurs who would love their business to grow, yet have made a conscious decision not to add extra work to their plate, I applaud you, even if that means that you've chosen not to grow right now. When you are ready to explore how the right, focused marketing strategies can help take your business to the next level without taking you more time, Vicky Woo Marketing, we have programs and services that can assist. You can request a marketing consultation to discuss either how to grow your business or discuss processes and systems we can help you put in place to maintain your business at the current level, but actually let you spend less time and less money. Contact us to request that consultation, or if you have a marketing question, drop your question down below or visit our website vickywoo.us. Bottom right, you'll find a chat bubble and you can ask your question there. We'll either try to respond to you directly or we may use your question on an upcoming podcast episode. While you're here, check out our other videos and subscribe to our channel so that you never miss the latest marketing tips.